Okay, so on to your second lesson on factorising harder quadratics. Now, this is going to be using exactly the same method, it's exactly the same process. There's just a couple of added things that we need to think about with regards to this. Okay, so I'll run you through some examples and we can see where we will get to. So, first one, 6x squared, subtract 11x plus 3. So, same process as we did last lesson. So, we always multiply, first of all, our coefficient of x squared and our coefficient without an x. So we do our 6 times 3 to give us 18, and that's the number we want our factor pairs for. Now, because we want the factor pairs that add to a negative 11, so multiply to positive, add to a negative, I'm going to need two negative numbers. So all of my factor pairs, in this case, are going to be negative. So I can go minus 1, minus 18, minus 2 and minus 9, minus 3 and minus 6. The ones that add to negative 11 will be these two here. So I'll have minus 2 and minus 9. They will go into my grid. Now, as I'm sure you noticed from last lesson, this is going to be really important that we use our grid with these. So we can put our 6x squared in, our 3 in, our minus 2x and our minus 9x. Now, the difference with these compared to the ones last week is that if we look at this value here of 6x squared, there are multiple ways I can make 6x squared. Okay, I can do x times 6x, I can do 2x times 3x. Now, we have to choose the right one. Now, in some instances, it doesn't matter which one you choose, you can still factorise. However, in some of them, it makes a difference. Now, there is no hard and fast way of working this out. You've got to use a little bit of mathematical common sense. Look at the other values that are in the column and the row. So, for example, if I look at this column here, I've got a 6x squared and a minus 9x. Well, that means I can't put a 6x there because I won't be able to multiply to make minus 9 using integers. I could use an x, that would work. I can't use a 2x because again I can't get to minus 9x, but I could use a 3x. So I can use either my 3x or my x. Then we check the other one. So if I now look at my row, if I've got a 6x squared and a minus 2x, well, I can't use a 6x because I can't get back to a minus 2x using an integer, but I could use a 2x. So therefore, the one I'm going to look for is my 2x and my 3x. We've got to make sure we put those in a particular place. So the 3x goes in here and the 2x in there. And then, same as before, we just work our way round. 2x to negative 2x are times by negative 1. Negative 1 to 3 are times by negative 3. And then just check your last one. 3x times by negative 3 makes minus 9x. Therefore, I'm happy. So I take my top row, I take my first column, and I will get 3x minus 1, 2x minus 3. Okay, so the only new part now is the fact that you've got this bit here that we need to be careful of to make sure we choose the right way, the right factor pair again, to get to our x squared coefficient. Okay, right. What I want you to do, using that idea, can you now have a go? Actually, I'll leave it on the screen. Can you now have a go at this next one for me here? So pause the video, have a go at it. Make sure you can still get to at least the grid point and see if we can start finding our factor pairs of our coefficient of x squared. So pause the video and have a go for me, and then we will go through it afterwards. Okay, so let's have a look then. So 4x squared plus 17x plus 4. Same as before, we have to multiply our coefficient of x squared with our coefficient that hasn't got an x. So we'll go 4 times 4 to give us 16, and that's what I'm looking for my factor pairs of. I want the ones that add to positive 17 now, so I want one positive and two positives this time. So I'll have 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4. The ones that add to 17 will be 1 and 16. From there, I go back to my grids again. So I can put my 4x squared in. I can put my plus 4 in. I can put in my 1 and my 16 with my x's, and I work my way round. So to get to 4x squared, okay, I need to think again what I can multiply to get there. So I could do x times 4x. I could do 2x times 2x. So we need to look at what we could use. So for this one, okay, for my column 4x squared and 16x, I could use x. I could use 4x. I could use 2x. So that doesn't actually help me. For the second one though, if I'm going to look at this row instead, I can't use 4x, okay, but I could use x, so that one certainly works. I can't use 4x, and I can't use 2x either, because I can't get back to 1x. Therefore, I have to use my x and 4x. It's the only one that's got both ticks on it, okay? Sometimes using ticks and crosses can be quite helpful to use. Therefore, I can go back to filling in again. So I can have a 4x at the top and an x in that one. And same as before, we then work our way around. So x times by a positive 1 gives me 1x. 1 times 4 gives me 4. Check your last box. 4 times 4x gives you 16x. I'm happy that it all works out. So I take my top row, take my first column, and I can have 4x plus 1 and x plus 4. Last one, again, even more to think about with this one. Okay, there are even more factor pairs to get to your 12x squared, but can you pause again for me and have a go at the next one you see on your screen, so the 12x squared minus x minus 1. Okay, right, let's have a look at it. So, first step, always the same. Coefficient of x squared, coefficient without an x, let's multiply them together. So 12 times negative 1, we get negative 12. So this time we're looking for factor pairs of negative 12. Because it's a negative, I'm going to need one positive and one negative each time. So I've got double my amount of factor pairs. So we're going to negative 1, 12, 1, and negative 12. Negative 2, 6, 2, negative 6, negative 3 and 4, 3, and negative 4. I want the ones that add to negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to be focusing out of those two there to get me to negative 1 rather than positive 1. I'm after that last set at the bottom, my 3 and my negative 4. So I can then go back to my grids again. I can fill in my 12x squared. I can fill in my minus 1. I can put my 3x and my minus 4x in. Right, 12x squared. In order to make my 12x squared, so to make this first box, because that's what's going to be important, I could use x times 12x. I could use 2x times 6x. I could use 3x times 4x. So we need to check what we've got going around. So we're going to start with this one, and we'll use ticks and crosses. Right, I can use x, okay, because I can get 12x squared and minus 4x from x quite happily. Can't use 12x. I could use 2x, okay, because I can get 12x squared happily enough. I can get minus 4x. I couldn't use 6x. I can't use 3x because I can't get to minus 4 from there, but I could use 4x. Now we check the other one, so we're now going this way. So I could use x, can't use 12x. Okay, can't get from 12x to 3x by multiplying by an integer. Can't use 2x, can't use 6x because I can't get back to 3x. I could use 3x because that I can multiply up quite happily. Couldn't use 4x. So the only one that's got a tick for black and green for both parts is going to be this one here, which is 3x and 4x. So they're the ones I'm going to need to put in. So I can put in 3x into this one, 4x into that one, and I work my way round. So 3x times by a positive 1 gives me 3x. 1 times negative 1 gives me an answer of negative 1. Check your last box. 4x times by negative 1 gives me negative 4x. I'm happy with the ones I've got. Top row, first column, 4x plus 1, 3x minus 1. Same as we did last lesson, all you've got is the added bit here, okay, that you need to be careful with. A little bit more complicated, few more steps, but exactly the same idea. Can you now log back on to show my homework for me and check the work I want you to do?